are overwhelmed amid rising grocery prices. Los Angeles Regional Food Bank organizers say a recent event had to be shut down early because supplies ran out. Now organizers say they're struggling to meet the daily food demand of families. President and CEO of the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank, Michael Flood's here for more on that story. Hi, Michael. So the lines at this event stretched around the block. How unusual is that?
Well, it reminds us of the pandemic, at times having these large drive-through distributions. And then most recently, the federal government shutdown in the fourth quarter of 2025, where we saw these large lines of cars coming through some of these mobile distributions. Most of the food we distribute goes to other organizations like food pantries and meal preparers. These mobile distributions are meant to try to take some of the pressure off that agency network. And what we experienced just earlier this week was overwhelming demand.
How does the demand now compare to a year ago?
Well, in LA, of course, we had the wildfires in January 2025 that led to a huge spike in demand. And then as the year went on, of course, the federal government shutdown I referred to. So 2025 was a really challenging year here in Los Angeles County with overall demand. And we were hoping 2026 would ease off some after that really incredible year, and it hasn't. And really what we're hearing from people who are coming through is primarily prices for food, prices for fuel. General inflation situation is causing a lot of pressure on household budgets.
What are you hearing from the people at these events about what they're going through?
Just trying to balance those basic expenses, trying to keep that roof over their head. We also have, in our area, very high cost of living when it comes to housing. So that already puts a lot of pressure on people's households. So, families coming through with children. We're heading into the summer months where kids are going to be out of school, rely heavily on school meals, which are extremely helpful. And seniors living on a fixed income, Social Security perhaps only, just puts a lot of just stress on their situation to try to meet their needs. And what we find is the food budget is whatever's left over in the budget. And for many people, it's just not enough.
How are you preparing for future food distribution events, given the lines this past week?
So the food bank relies primarily on donated food coming in from private sources, retailers, manufacturers, farmers, many sources, and that continues to flow in. But we're looking for ways to, again, increase what's coming in. USDA is also an important source, U.S. Department of Agriculture. They play a role of identifying surplus food and getting it through food banks throughout the country. So and then we augment by purchase. Purchase is probably our least preferred. It's our most expensive way to grow the food volume. But it's a combination of all those factors. And what we see is this happening, really reading reports, elevated prices are going to be with us for quite some time. So we're preparing for not just the short term, but unfortunately for the long haul also.
So what's your biggest need right now?
The major inputs are food, funding, the volunteers. The volunteer program is very strong. So it's more on the financial and food part of it. Being a nonprofit, right, getting this food in and out. I'm at our City of Industry facility where food is coming in and out, serving our agency partners, going out through the community. So it is primarily the financial contributions to run the operation, and of course from our many food partners, food is always needed.
President and CEO of Los Angeles Regional Food Bank, Michael Flood, we appreciate your time today, Michael. Thank you.
Shalom. Kal halalima Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone. Okay, and Shalom. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone and the elder bishops. Ruel. And shalom to the Prophet of the body, and shalom to the 144,001 third. May peace and blessings and the spirit of endurance be upon you and your households. Okay, that was the other side of the Atlantic. That was the States. Well, that was Los Angeles specifically. All right. And now, if a huge financial hub like New York, Los Angeles, especially Los Angeles, you know, sunshine, beaches, Baywatch, Hollywood, and all that shit, right, is suffering, and people are being turned away from food banks, okay, due to inflation, rising costs. People have jobs, but they still can't have a livable wage where they can actually, rent a home or rent an apartment, or even buy their home. Okay, people, it's cardboard city out there. Okay, and that's Los Angeles. All right, and that's pretty much the same sentiment or the same things that are happening, in every state around the United States of America. And it's definitely happening here in the UK. So that was Los Angeles. Now here, this is the UK, right? Food bank increase should be a wake-up call. This is from the 21st. Oh, this is from last year. Oh, this is from last year. Okay. And this is a 56% increase in the number of food parcels provided to families with children in the Southeast over 5 years should be a wake-up call, said the Trussell Trust. Okay. And this is the food bank increases from 2017, onwards. Deepening hardship. The long-term trend is things are likely to get worse before they get better. If the UK government doesn't change course, it will see increasing levels of food bank need and deepening hardship. Okay? See, these curses are coming upon our enemies. We do see brown faces that look like Israelites amongst the homeless, amongst the drug addicts, amongst the people that are catching hell. But those are the 2/3 that need to go. Pursuant to Zechariah 13 and 8 and 13 and 9. 1/3 will make it through and 2 parts will be cut off. Right? 2 parts will be cut off, 1/3 will make it through. Right? Zechariah 13 and 8 and 13 and 9. Right? The curses are coming upon our enemies slowly but surely. They're not fully there, implementing them yet, but you can see it. They're getting their ass kicked right now, from one side of the field to the other side. Okay? They're not catching no rest. Did we see a video the other day? Is it on Arrows of Indignation? Or yeah, I think it's Arrows of Indignation. The prophet who makes great videos, like makes all these little makes a video of all these different individuals that are bitching, complaining, especially Edomites. There's a cracker there talking about his wife goes to the store 3 times a week, spends about $100 to $150, and when he comes home for something to eat, there's nothing in the fridge. There's nothing in the pantry. There's nothing in the cupboards. It's empty. There's nothing to eat. Their money is not stretching as far as it used to. All right, gone are the days of fucking what's that show? Happy Days. Richie Cunningham, the Cunningham family, woman at home wearing a dress, keeping the house spick and span and spotless. Man, Howard Cunningham running his hardware store. Richie Cunningham, all he's got to worry about is the basketball game and maybe which Peggy Sue he's going to deal with on Friday night. And his daughter and his sister's being a pain in his backside. Small, minor little issues. She might be just encroaching on his, encroaching on his style or whatever, if Edomites have style. But, small Esau's world that was so carefree is over. And that was the 50s. Okay? They had a good time, maybe the 70s, but now, 80s and 90s, it kind of, it was kind of okay for them. But now they're catching hell because we're right at the end. And if you look generally and collectively, right, our people are doing better than the white man. Okay? Okay? We move in a regal fashion, even if they earn more than us. Okay? We always move in a regal fashion. Okay? We always move in a regal fashion. See, the so-called white man is not used to stress and pressure. Okay? The elect are used to it. Acceptable men in the furnace of adversity, right? These crackers are not used to it. That's why the slightest bit of hardship, what do? They jump out of their window. Literally. Okay? Now, this is from 2025. Let's see what's happening in 2026. The sentiment is the same. It's like rising costs. Everything's too damn expensive. You go to the store, you spend. It's the same thing. It costs $100 to fill up your tank in America. It costs damn near the same amount here, about 70 to 80 pounds, which is about $100 or a little more. Okay, but these Edomites are suffering over there. They're trying to toss a coin between, shall I eat this week or shall I put fuel in my car? They're in they're between a rock and a hard place, blatantly. Okay, here we are. I found something on 2026. Heart Food Bank together with Trussell. All right. I'm in work, but I need to use a food bank. Okay. I'm in work, but I need to use a food bank. But does she have a husband? Right. Food banks, bet she don't have a husband. That's why she's struggling like that. All right. I mean, your women's vintage is failing. Okay. Your time where a woman can pass the man, that time is, you women are losing your goodies. All right. We're going back to the ancient world where the man is going to be the head. The way it's supposed to be. 1 Corinthians 14 and 40. Do everything decently and in order. All right. Food banks under fresh pressure as cost of living strains continue in 2026. Food banks across the UK are reporting sustained high levels of demand as households continue to feel the impact of rising living costs, housing pressures, and energy bills. See the sentiment, okay? The energy, okay, is the same. Because remember, Esau's trying to implement his what? New World Order. All right? New World Order is the order of the day. That's what Esau's trying to implement this. It's not just in America, not just ground zero, but America is the only place that's going to be blown off the map. Okay, it's going to be blown off the map. That's why I always wonder as a youngster, watching all these movies in the 90s, say, why the fuck is always America always being destroyed with nukes and shit? Why is it always aliens, so-called aliens coming over there? You find out years later that you're an Israelite, first and foremost. You learn the name, you're an Israelite. Brakti Habashim Shai, for making me an Israelite. Umamash Pakya and me, making us Israelites. Mum, WhatsApp audio. Just bear with me. Yeah. I'm busy right now. I'll come in a minute. I'm busy right now. I'm busy. It doesn't matter. I'm busy. Salaki about that. Okay. I lost my train of thought because I got a phone call coming in. All right. Now so it's a new world order. Okay. So that's why they're doing what they're doing on a worldwide basis. Okay. Now this is all being done by Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay. Yeah, the sentiment, the thought or opinion remains the same across the board. Okay, so we're coming to the end of this society. Okay, now this is going to get worse and worse and worse. All right, you just think about it. It's like a house of cards. If one thing is subtracted, especially money, how does everything else get sustained? People are working home remotely, right? Some people that do office work. Okay, so what happens with the high streets and your local town centers? The restaurants, the bakeries, the burger joints, they all close down. Why? Because people are not buying no food anymore. Number one, it's expensive, so they're trying to save a few quid. They might bring a packed lunch. They might bring sandwiches from home. Okay, so that's going to go out the window. And there's going to be very few workers. Seldomly they'll purchase anything. All right, so that's going to affect that. It's going to affect the tips of restaurant workers. It's going to affect the income. There's no disposable income. Then people are not earning enough. It's like a snowball effect. One thing affects another. All right. People don't have disposable income to buy clothes, clones, this, that, and the third, go on holidays, and it affects the tourist market. It affects the tourist market of people coming to your country or England or whatever. Okay. So it affects everything. So slowly but surely, these core points are being pulled out. These core things are being subtracted from this world to make it what? Crash. Okay, crash and burn. Okay, and then when people are starving and hungry, what's going to happen? That's going to turn them into worse animals than they already are. Okay, all right. They're already lustful. They're already hungry. They're already what's the word? Gluttonous. Okay, they're already envious. Okay, covetous. Okay, so when society fails and police is no more longer there because those motherfuckers are going to be looking after their own kith and kin and households, just like in World War Z when the copper was running in, the Jake copper was running in, and Brad Pitt put his hands up in the air with a shotgun in his hand, thinking that the copper was going to arrest him, but the copper ran past him because he was grabbing some bits and bobs, things that he needed for his own children. That's how it's going to be. And you women are going to be in trouble, especially you attractive women that live alone. You know, it's going to be very dangerous for you. All right? Because you're tough with your little stun gun in your purse, you know, with your little tutu if you're allowed to carry a pistol, you know. You're tough with the 911 or 999 at the end of the phone call, 999 in the UK, 911 in America. All right? But it's going to get really bad out for you. Your backup plan is gone. Your contingency plan, the so-called white man calling them, is out the window. All right? Okay, it's going to get really bad out here, man. And I can't emphasize that enough. All right? Let's go to Job 14, verse 5, man. I know I'm all over the place. I just can't emphasize it enough that we're coming to the end of this society, man. You just got to think about it. If you just pull one thing out of an equation, it's not, it's going to lead to destruction, right? You know? Job 14, verse 5. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Esau cannot go past a specific point in time. Okay, there is an expiration date. The same way you buy some eggs, some bread, some milk, some juice, right? You bake a fresh cake at home. You know you got to demolish that cake if it's freshly baked at home within what, say 2 days? To a stretch, maybe 3. Right? Because you want to eat it somewhat fresh. Okay? So this kingdom was always temporary. It was never meant to be eternal. So we're coming to the end. And as you approach the end of the society, those that are old enough, that are my age, late 40s, 50s, older, they can understand, especially if they are part of the hopeful elect, they can see the demise of this world. We were in the 80s as youngsters, at 9, 10 years old. We were in the 90s in our 20s. Okay, in the early 2000s, we are in our mid 20s. So we know how the world was. I remember. Okay, when you were in the world, it was just a fun world. It was happy-go-lucky, lots of shit, vibrancy. The clubs were popping, pretty girls everywhere. Everybody was outside. Everybody was doing something. There was always something going on. Clothes were easily accessible. You could buy clothes off the high street. You didn't have to fucking order some clothes from halfway around the world because, it resembles an outfit from the 90s. You're trying to get the clothes or the fashion styles of the 90s. So you try and buy clothes that sort of fit right instead of this homo shit they got everywhere. Even some of the rappers are saying, he said back in the day, you could buy an outfit, you could easily put it together. But now, man, you got to go to specialist shops. Even if you want to buy an outfit, you have to go to downtown London. And then it might be just stupidly priced and not so well made. Sergio Tacchini, the old school brands, like Italian brands being made in Sri Lanka. We're at the end of this, man. The clothes, you can see it. You can see it in the concrete roads. It's crumbling. You can see it in people's attitudes. You can see it in the way everyone's fagged out. Okay? That's when we're at the end. Okay? Because it's that same generation again, like Sodom and Gomorrah. Those faggots are back. That's why we got 9 billion people on the planet Earth. Okay? And a lot of them are going to be purged. Heathens, Edomites, and the other heathen non-Israelite nations, and the 2/3, and the unelect Jakes are going to be purged. And Esau wants to purge you through his drugs in the food, through his fake foods. Because the Lord did say we are going to eat our food defiled in the lands the Lord will send us. Loosely paraphrasing our scripture. Okay? And we do eat our foods defiled. That's why prayer is important. Keep your medicine strong. Pray without ceasing. All right? Okay? Because prayer is spiritual power. Prayer and belief. Hebrews 11 verse 1. You must believe as well when you pray. Okay, you can't be half-hearted about it because a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And if you're unstable and you're praying with instability, right, you're not gonna get to where you want to get to. Because what did the Lord say? Wisdom shall be wisdom. And this is the wisdom that gives you stability. The name of Yahweh Hashem Yashai is truth. Isaiah 33:6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yashai is his treasure. Okay? The elect out. Listen, Jacob's trouble, Jeremiah 30, verse 7. Okay? The nuclear missiles, starvation, being raped, being deleted, okay, is all for the heathens and the 2/3, the unelect Jakes. Okay? The elect Jakes are going to be good. Okay? Psalms 91, verse 4. The Lord Yahweh Hashem Yashai has you covered. Meaning that even if you do have to die, your death is going to be a righteous death. You're not going to feel the pain because Yahweh Hashem Yashai is going to send his angels, and angels are going to be there. If your head is chopped off, you might feel like a feather is tickling your neck. If you're hit with bullets, okay, you might feel like you're being, tickled with a feather. You know? You're not going to feel it because you have belief. What did the Lord say? If you got belief as a grain of a mustard seed, and a mustard seed is a very small seed, you can move mountains, bruv. You understand? You can move mountains. All right? So all this starvation, all these things that are happening is going to affect the other nations. The elect are good money. All right? The Lord said he's going to provide food. Okay? What did the Lord say? My servants shall eat. Okay? Let's go to that scripture. Okay? And who are the servants? 144. Brakti Hashem Yashai. I said, my servants shall eat, and it was 144. Brakti Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Hashem Rakakodash. Pray without ceasing. 1 Thessalonians 5 and 17, man. All right. Isaiah 65 and 13. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yashai. Behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. That's all you 2/3 and unelect Jakes and you heathens. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Shit, we're rejoicing now, Lord willing, we're part of that number. Okay? Let's go to verse 14 too, bruv. It's excelente, as my Northern Kingdom brothers would say. Verse 14, behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. Oh, I don't have enough money. Oh, I got to use a little bit of deodorant every day. Oh, they got to watch their bread and meat. They got to eat and drink with measure. The elect don't have to eat and drink with measure. All right? The elect are not vexed. They're vexed with this world. They hate this fucking place. But the Lord Yahweh Hashem is sustaining them. All right? The Lord is sustaining them. Verse 14, behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. Okay? But the elect are going to be good. Because you can't pluck the elect out of the Lord's hand. So all these food banks, all this crisis is going to lead to people bum rushing people's yards, knocking on their front door. That's shit, not even knocking on their front door, kicking in their front door. Okay? But the elect are going to be good. Isaiah 59 and 19, when the enemy shall come in like a flood. Doesn't just mean stormtroopers or police or military. It could be fucking marauders. It could be a bunch of punks. It could be a bunch of Wyans. It could be a bunch of racist crackers. It could be anybody. 1 person, 10 people, 100 people. Yahweh Hashem Yashai is going to lift up that standard. The Lord's going to give you power, man. All right? And that power is going to come. But remember, all these things that are happening have to happen because Esau knows he's got a short time. Revelation 12 verse 12. That's why they're going to go buck wild. And that's why the Lord is speeding up the time for the elect's sake, because our kingdom is coming. The Lord cometh. The Lord's return is soon. Benjamin would say, the Lord soon come. The Lord is coming, bruv. Okay? But you elect do not have to worry about food and drink. These punishments are coming for the heathens and the 2/3. Okay? All right? Jeremiah 30 verse 7, Jacob's trouble is Jacob's going to be in it, but Jacob's going to be covered. All right? But the Jacob's trouble is for the heathen and the 2/3 and the unelect Jakes. All right? Haggai 1 and 6. People are earning enough. People are not earning enough. People are not earning enough money. You know? Expenses have gone up, but salaries have not gone up. Salaries are still static, not moving. All right? Haggai 1 and 6. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. All right? It's going into a bag with holes. You know? But somehow the Lord Yahweh Shem Yashai, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yashai, the Lord is giving, enough funds each month to each elect Jake, right? And his family, if he's got to take care of his family too. And if he's got to take care of his parents, his parents live with him, they're old. Whatever the situation is, the Lord is providing. Okay? What do? We cast our burdens upon Yahweh B'Shem Yashai. He shall not suffer the righteous to be moved. The Lord is not going to put you into a predicament where you have no money. If you're his sheep, the Lord's not going to put you into a predicament where you have no money and you got to, oh shit, I've got to go and rob a bank or I've got to jack someone. No, the Lord will provide a way. Money might show up in your account. You might get a pay rise, however the Lord will do it. Shit, you might win a scratch card. You might win $5,000 or something. That will give you that nice little cash boost into your account for a month or two until you top up your account again with more salary coming in. And when all hell breaks loose, the Lord's, as more and more hell breaks loose, Yahweh Shem Yashai is going to show himself more. And more miracles are going to happen. So when Esau does his thing on the left-hand side, which is Yahweh Shem Yashai is controlling, pursuant to Isaiah 45 verse 7, then the Lord's going to amplify himself on the right-hand side for the elect. For the elect. All right? Let's go to Psalm 91 verse 4, man. So people are going to go crazy out here. A lack of food, right? You think about it. Sometimes, when you fast for a day, and yeah, man, I'm gonna demolish that. I'm gonna demolish that. I'm gonna cook them chicken sausages, and I'm talking about lawful chicken sausages. Everything there's no pork involved. I check the ingredients. I read the ingredients. Chicken sausages I'm referring to. No weird shit. Okay. All right. Or I'm gonna cook them those beef burgers, brother. I'm gonna come home, I'm gonna cook them and I'm gonna demolish them. When you don't have that to look forward to, you don't have that area covered, what's gonna happen? Some people are not used to fasting, that not used to disciplining themselves. They're gonna freaking go crazy. Okay? Because food and water is a huge factor, man. You can't eat gold and diamonds and cash money. Okay? You can't eat Versace cologne or drink it. Food and water is order of the day. Yeah? And people are going to go fucking crazy. Especially when you love your children. You look at your babies cry and scream. You will do anything to make sure that they're okay, as well as yourself. But the elect are covered. Okay, so it's going to get really bad out here. These are just the starting signs. Food banks that are stretched. People that are working need food banks. Once the food banks, because people, how do food banks work? Through donations. Once those donations stop, because as people say, charity begins at home. What's going to happen then? All right, it's just a matter of time, and that time is coming soon. But the elect are covered. Psalm 91 verse 4. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Hebrews 11 verse 1. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. All right. All right. Just a matter of time. All right. The world is not going to go back to normal again. We got a lot to look forward to. Okay. Remember one thing, for the kingdom to come on this earth and beyond, we need to go through these things. Okay. Okay. If there's no stress, I'm going to quote my brothers from the other day from GMS Chicago. If there's no stress, if you're not being stressed out as a hopeful elect, you're not being tested by Yahweh Shem Yashai. Remember, the Lord said, acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. If you go through the furnace of adversity and the Lord gets you out of it, you are deemed acceptable. If everything's hunky-dory for you and you call on Jeebus, the Christ, or you're some crazy Muslim, or you practice black magic or some shit like that, and you got hundreds of thousands in the account, and you know you got 10 women and shit, and you live in a nice place, and everything's lovely for you, you know, and you're a Jake. Hey, live it up, okay? Because you know, this kingdom is done, and it's going to be real bad for people like that have it great, especially our people. But the heathen, for yous that have it great, you know, the one or two of you that have it great at the moment, you better enjoy it. Okay, you better enjoy it, because it's not long. Because in the kingdom, you are not going to have no enjoyment. 1,000 years of captivity for you fucking crackers and you heathens. Then after that, 1,000 years of slavery, hardcore in righteousness, of course. But we're going to fuck you up, though. We're not going to grape. We're not going to do no faggotry like you did, or any PDF file shit, you know, or take another man's woman or whatever. We're not going to do none of that shit. But we'll take your daughters that look good, single daughters that are not betrothed, right? And we're going to chop your feet off, you know, chop your hands off and shit. We're going to fuck you up. We're going to kick you in the teeth, knock your fronts out. You know? We're going to do that to you. We're going to chop your fingers off. We're going to torture you. Yeah. Then after 1,000, and we're going to make you work. We're going to put a spirit on you to make sure that you're in pain, and you put the spirit on you to make sure that you do your quota for the day of picking cotton, orange, whatever you got to do, digging holes, ditches, whatever. Right? Then after 1,000 years, we're going to put you to deletion. Obadiah 1:18. Then there'll be no more Edomites. Yeah, Guan. As Benjamin would say, you are gone. Guan. All right? All right, so food and water is a major factor, man. Okay? That's what we work for. What do people say? Hey, man, I'm going to go and earn my daily bread. What do the scriptures say? Earn your daily bread, right? You know? The Lord, you know, put the term daily bread in terms of earning your wages, which means daily bread is a huge factor. And people will do anything to get some water and bread in their mouth, man. Especially when you're starving, hungry. All praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yashai, Bashem Rakak Wadash, Mawathabad Babal, Kwam Yashra Shalawam.